Is being recorded. All righty. So it looks like my microphone is on. And hi, everybody. This is Dr. Timothy Elizondo. I'm here for, I think it's Wednesday, April 15th. I think the days and times have little meaning, but this is day 3 of my attempt to write a persuasive speech by spending 30 minutes every single day working on this thing. So I'm going to set my timer here for 30 minutes. So off we go. And I'll be honest, I was having a little difficulty motivating today. Yeah, it's just some days you just don't feel like working on the outline, but I really believe that the only way I was ever able to finish certain college classes, to finish writing my thesis, to finish completing my dissertation was to chain myself to my writing station at least a certain amount of time every single day. I know some people are able to do that with the gym. I know some people are able to do that eating breakfast every day. Sometimes I struggle with just showering, but with writing, so far 3 days in a row. All right, so let's go to my screen share and start working on my speech. And hopefully this will help you also with your speech as well. That is the intention. So let me go to my stuff. And this is what I got. It's my outline that I have been working on. All right. So, and last we left, I was trying to figure out how, still grappling with this first point. You know, sometimes I don't want my first point to be too long. And it just seems like looking at it, just what I've got here, as far as when I'm just defining what the issue is, right? So here I'm just kind of review. I start my first point by saying, hey, Grandma, there's these 2 things that are really important to know. First is going to be exactly what the Fed is, or what the Federal Reserve does. And in addition, how junk bonds play into these recent actions. So I think there's 2 particular terms. And then I start saying, all right, so now that you know what that is, Grandma, the Feds just took this really weird action, right? So here's this plan that they did. And I don't even know when the date is. I don't have this plan yet, so that seems to be missing. But it was, what was it, like early March? Sure, early March. So I got to put that there. So these Feds did this weird action, and then down below, I end my first point by getting into the significance. Like, why does this action matter to Grandma? All right. It's looking like my first point is going to be kind of long, at least right now. So I think that's okay. Again, this is my preparation outline, so I'm not totally committed that everything that's going to go on this outline is going to go into the final speech, right? It's also, I might be looking for spaces of where I'm trying to do what's called word economy, which is where you say the same idea with fewer words. Fewer words, good. How's that? Let's see. So, yeah, all right. There's no way around this. This is the kind of stuff, I don't know about this topic. I'm still kind of learning about it because I just heard about it and I was just outraged. So, and looking back, I wish I was outraged at something simpler to tackle. Close my stuff. So what I did in order to prep for this is I did some internet searching, just kind of sniffing around, and I found 2 particular articles. One was from Forbes magazine on April 9th. It's right here. And it just kind of defines exactly what is what a junk bond is, as far as like what it has to be rated, you know, to be considered a junk, or also known as a high yield bond. So I think what I also need is I need to clean this up. This is kind of stressing me out, my evidence here. And I kind of woke up after I did this earlier this morning. I took a nap, woke back up. I'm like, this kind of stresses me out. I think I want to like create some cards, organize this a little bit. So first is, here's my particular link. I want to do that card cutting trick. So what is this statistic? What is this trying to say? This is actually saying that risk default by high yield bonds is historically high. You can always read this at your own purview, but that's what I think this means to me. I'm gonna make that a card. There's my evidence there. This is gonna be the two, what are you showing as? It's different everywhere. Hi, I've been showing schematic credit. The junk by now stands at, this is amount of money. Involved with these junk bonds is at all. How about record house? I don't know. I'll use that. I got two cards. And of course, I could also, right, I can put some analysis here. Right, that's me saying what I want to say from it, what I'm extracting from it, if I wanted to do that. So in other words, right, I could make just a summation, put it in my own, kind of my own words. I could say what's important here, right, and just highlight the 2.9% that I said, that's just right above it. I might do an old persuader's trick that says what's not present here is that they're not talking about men. I kind of do that magic trick by showing you a rabbit and then saying, look, hey, did you notice they didn't show you a tiger? But I don't know. I mean, there's just different strategies you have. Yep, I want to put that there and just remind myself that Tim needs to say something after this piece of evidence, right? Particularly important in a paper. Sometimes I see students where they will just put in the evidence and then they just stop. And that's actually not quite what you want to do. Let's see, so I got that and that. And so, and if I wanted to, I could actually, I mean, if this was debate, I'd probably just even do that. And debaters highlight this kind of stuff because this kind of like font highlight also lets them give speaking changes to it, right? I mean, for example, if on extemporaneous file, you could look at this and say, well, the first thing we need to recognize is that risks are by default by these high yield bonds are historically high levels, taken from Forbes magazine of April 13th, right? And then you just go through the citation. Here's my citation. Yeah. Okay, that's gonna be there. Okay. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, okay. What is this? His top bonds are combined low volume now. It's getting bigger. Fitch's rose, top bonds are concerned, rose 24% to 44 point. Okay. Credit rating agencies raise alarm as amount of money at concern is topping from 44. Okay, so I'm going to say 44 million. 44 billion. Oh, that's even worse. Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be the third card. Phew. All right. So some space. Yeah. Well, hopefully you get what I'm trying to do here. All right. Yeah. All right. So I like that better. Again, what that does is it does a couple different things. It lets me know what the ideas that I'm trying to assert. It gives me the piece of evidence here that if I really wanted to, I could put in quotation marks, right? Let's see, what else? And it's just nicely organized, and I can always, again, I can use it in the future, right? So now if I take Randy Barton's economics class and I want to write a paper about high yield bonds, and I feel like torturing myself like that, I can pull out these files. Like, cool, I've got these, I don't know, these evidence briefs. And then I think I would actually then start doing something like that to just separate that these are different sources. Actually, maybe even like start a separate page. And some of this is cleanup. Some of this is just disorganization. It's just like you might be doing right now at home, organizing your stuff because you've got time to do it. Maybe, I don't know, how many times am I Roman kind of guy? Can I do that? What does that do? Didn't mean to do that. I am not the best for this kind of stuff. All right, so I'm gonna leave that alone, not mess with it. All right, so what does this say? This says something else. Qualify have to be rated. Coverage it would have to be rated. Fed is buying. These are the kind of bonds that they're buying. The ratings. Is buying bonds previously rated as fallen angels. It's also known as, it's a category used to describe these of bonds. Yep. It's true. Yep. And I think that's what this evidence says. There. So can you talk? Okay. Hold that baby. All right. Okay. So I've got some files coming along. This is coming along. All right. So let me go back to this Fed outline. And I mean, really what's been kind of like driving me nuts is I need to be able to explain what a junk bond is. And so what I did was I watched a bunch of different kinds of videos. I tried reading stuff. You'll see those articles that I put up in this recent video where I'm kind of manipulating. And what I came up with was, what else did I write? I also watched kind of some things about junk bonds. And so I created kind of this outline for myself as I was just watching these different things, right? So I was asking myself, what is a junk bond? And basically I'm saying, look, a junk bond is a category of bonds, or it's an IOU by an organization, institution, or company that involves three things: amount of money, a percentage that's going to be paid back on that loan, and a date that it's going to be paid back. And these bonds that we're talking about, these IOUs, are divided into two categories: investment grade, or what's called junk bonds, but both work in similar ways. For example, both bonds work in such a way that they're kind of serve as like a coupon, where if you were to buy a coupon with a 5% interest rate, it means that an investor who purchases this bond, such as yourself, would expect to receive $50 or 5% when that bond becomes due. However, junk bonds offer a different kind of financial risk. And then I talk about Rick. Like, so example, it's kind of like Rick, and I bring up my friend who I don't know what I'm going to do with yet, but he's going to be used as like a way to kind of just explain to the audience, like, it's kind of like an aha moment, right? It's where in a speech, if you're talking about something that you might think is a little bit complicated, you might go, audience, it's kind of like this. It's kind of like an analogy. And then you offer now. It's kind of like Cookie Monster. If Cookie Monster had 5 cookies, and he wanted some more cookies. And he said, okay, tell you what, I will borrow $10 to buy cookies, or something like that. I'll outline that, and I say, look, these junk bonds, even though they're called junk bonds, they're not inherently bad. Like you might think of junk in your house. They're actually very useful for startup companies such as Tesla and blah, blah, blah. However, the problem resides, and then I move into the problem where the federal government recently purchased a whole bunch of them, right? So I'm going to copy this, and I think that I can put into my master outline, because I wanted to say what junk bonds are. That's going to go away. I'm going to keep that B subpoint there for now and paste that. Let's see. This is getting a little bit. So I want everything to be the same font. Can't handle if it's not the same font. I get a little weird. Oh, 14. We'll go 14 right now. Okay. And this, there are two terms that become important, is right there. What is the junk bond? That becomes support of that. That becomes support of that. That becomes support of that. This was underneath that. This was underneath. I got it there, and then it was an example. Okay. It's going to go. Isn't this exciting to watch on video? We're going to put there. We're going to go there. Rick was an example. There's a real world example. And I think I want to say, look, these junk bonds aren't inherently bad. Like, they're kind of useful. But here's the problem. Jeez. There are two terms. Yeah, and I think here is actually an internal transition into the recent decision, right? So here's some terms you need to understand, and then I go right into decision. So I think the reason is a sign, if this is the exigence, this is actually a larger B subpoint. Yep. Bam. Maybe not. That is the B. I think that's it. Is that it? Big I, A, 1. Big I, yeah. That becomes bolded. Boom. Oh, look at that. Grandma, there are two important terms. Okay, that's right. So let's, all right, so far I've got grandma. Look, there's two terms that you've got to know about. There's the Fed, and then there's also like the junk bond. I don't know, I think here it needs to be link what into the role plays bonds money or your money. Yeah, I think it's got to be your money, because you might be like, Tim, this is super nerdy. Why should we care about this? So I somehow have to make the link that you should care about this because it's related to like your income or employment or your car loans or whatever, right? And I'm like, okay, so this is really important because they have to do with your money and also the realm of bonds. Well, great. So what is a bond? More specifically, what is a junk bond? Yep. Then I go junk bonds, category bonds. There's two categories. This is kind of how they work. This is why here's examples. Here's a real world example from like Tesla. But the problem is that the government recently did something. So in the context of this bill, I think I need to better description. I'm just going to remind myself of what I need to work on here. Yeah, need better description of like what this plan was. Jointly that they purchased, says that I have evidence to help grandma understand my evidence. How does this link to grandma's things care about? All right, so then I think we need to go to the other piece of evidence I was looking at. That's not my speech. Where is it? Where is it? Well, I mean, it's this stuff, right? That there's a risk of default, that there's an amount of money that's at risk and highs, and it's a big concern. I think that's the significance here. It's going to rich people. I think it's the government, loan risky assets. These risky assets are going to default. Boom. Okay. So, okay, how up now? Got to do the same thing. This is historically high. There's got to be a better way to do this. I'm sure right now there's somebody who might just totally be laughing at me, saying, Tim, like, do this, control that, hit this button, click this mouse thing. But I'm just not old school. Old school. I was clicking around just as computers were coming in. The dawn of the word processing machine. Let's see. So I think I want to put there. Again, I'm really kind of hoping this is all piecing together. I don't know. I'm hoping it says what I think it says. And I mean, really, with this evidence, I can't just say these citations. I can't say, purchase top bonds and tier 2 bonds of concern combine low now compromises. I can't read that. I'm going to have to like figure out how to paraphrase. And it's more probably the things in bold that I'm actually going to say verbatim. And the evidence summations or summaries are going to be handled probably a little bit differently. Yeah, these risk scans are going to default. They are. I don't know if they're going to. I just have to like sell myself, convince myself my arguments so that my body language will follow. And my tone, my facial expressions. Got to convince myself. So far, I've got unemployment is rising. I think that that's a little bit weak. And right now I'm looking at all of this information of can I get to all of this through a minute? Probably not. Probably not. But I can always condense. And that's what's super awesome. Right? Like say, for example, just even all this information I just shoved right here. If I wanted to, I could just condense it all down into even like 10 seconds or 20 seconds perhaps, because it's all from the same citation. Right? I can even show like a graph, a chart. So there's different things I could kind of pull from that perspective as well. All right, let's see. All right, so there's two important issues. We got the Fed here. I gotta play with that later. I got what is a junk bond. I'm pretty happy with that. I think this is what I would time out. See if I can explain it, because that seems to be pretty important. Getting into the finance and government, or did this through the purchasing of high yield bonds. High yield, also known as junk. Yeah, and then here are the all risk assets. Yep, they bought them, and then here's the problem: they're going to default. Yep, super high, super high, super high. So how does this care? I think default ripples into local money ecosystem. I mean, this is the big thing. Default is right, and so I don't know what I need to do. I think I can just paint that the economy is super broken. Right? Unemployment is rising. I think here I need a piece of evidence that says legit about ecosystem. Yeah, I think I need that. I think I do. All right, so You want to use the term it's on the brink. Brink is like a tipping point, right? So it's like, oh, it's on the edge, right? Because you don't want to, like in debate, you don't want to necessarily say it's falling. It's like, oh, we're falling, because then it's like, okay, well, if I'm your opponent, if it's already falling, then I can't stop it from falling. They already fell. It's, you know, it's in the process. So what kind of advanced debaters do at times is they'll say, oh, no, it's not falling. It's on the brink of falling. That way, if we don't do anything, it'll fall. Or if you do something, it'll fall. But it's always this, we're on the edge, right? So yeah, I want to say that we're on the brink, right? That our economy is super bad, but we're on the brink of it getting even worse. And I think unemployment could show that. And I think those small businesses. Right? Or even perhaps industries. But what I want to do is I want to paint back the money's not going in the right direction. Example. Unemployment is rising. Let's see, defaulting is on the brink. I think econ, it's actually starting with like that. This matters, and why? So our economy's on the brink. The economy matters. Why? Oh, because unemployment's rising, and I think that maybe. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think here I'm just kind of sketching out this idea because this is my significance point. I'm trying to throw things in there that says, look, like our economy, you know, when it defaults, this matters. And in the meantime, our economy, our local economy, our like global economy, our national economy, our state economy, our personal economy is just on the brink. And employment's rising, individual help is slow, small industry is suffering. What, you know, like why is this happening? And I think that's going to lead to, what would that be? Where am I at? Oh, got a 1A. I've got a 1B. I like that. Yeah, because the B is probably the significant stuff. I know the B is more the problem. Problem. Problem described. I kind of want that to be the C. So this is going to be changed to sig. I guess change to significance. Yeah, let's do that. Yep, sorry, I got quiet there. Yeah, so I was just linked to things she cares about. Yep, and that's actually going to be kind of a bigger part of the structure. Yep, because that's the B. There's a C. So why does she care? Detailed anarchists on the brink, small businesses, and ultimately, this is, I don't know, government, Fed Gov, helping cats secure fast money instead of us, the individual, everyday person. Sure, why not? Why not? Okay. All right. The other thing that I found today that I think I need to tackle in the future is the Volcker rule. I think the Volcker rule is something that restricts banks from making certain kinds of speculative investments. So to me, like the high yield bond is the most speculative kind of investment you want to go with, unless you're going with like, I don't know, like cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or something like that. So, and I don't think Bitcoin falls underneath that. So I'm going to copy and paste that little baby from Wikipedia. And I think it's going to go under the Frank-Dodd Act and reform somehow. Because it was modified in the Frank-Dodd Act. I don't exactly understand why, or what it did. I gotta get to that. But I think that's gonna go there. Yep. Then I gotta talk about the Volcker rule. There's my timer. Stop. Sorry. And let's do that. All right. All right, so did we go big? That is my half hour for the day. I think it's coming along. It's coming along. I mean, I'm not super, it's coming along. I think so. Right? Noticing that I'm trying to use big sentences and kind of like to capture the big ideas moving through, and I'm going to use phrases more for the examples. But yeah, this looks like my first point. So again, here's me kind of defining some key terms that are important. Here is me kind of describing the move that I think I need something better here. Here's me saying that, look, these are going to fall. They'll sound like, look, grandma, here's why it matters. And then I need to start kind of shaping out the cause. Yep. Yep. And since I already have some significance, what I can finally do if I really want to, let me move down. So my significance is going to say it's economic, unemployment, small business, and it's unfair. So that can actually start going in my motivated audience line, right? So the 3 reasons like this issue matters is I could just start putting in. It's devastating to local and economies. It's devastating. I don't think it's devastating again. Its wake will rage through individual households. Sure. And it is the antithesis of okay, so my 3 significance reasons, whatever I have in the significance, I can always come up here and put here in my motivate audience line, right? Yep. All right. So that is where we are at today. Yep, I think it's pretty good progress. Not bad. You know, I mean, like, it could be better, but hey, practice makes improvement, and I think we can walk out going, you know what, we did something, we accomplished something. It's much closer than what it was before we sat down, and ultimately that is the goal. And you're probably also finding that as I sit down and kind of work with this, I'm getting more familiar with what the first point is. I'm kind of working on it in my head, thinking about how things sound. So yeah. All right. But again, yeah, my OCD at some point is going to need to tackle all these font issues that are going on. So, all right, hey, well, I hope that is helpful for everybody. That is my 30 minutes. So I got to go. I hope everyone is happy and healthy, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow. All right, bye, guys.